Hi out there, internet friends. Evdog from Air here. It's been a very long time since I've made any kind of video. I'm going to try a more casual approach for this one. See how it goes. Sorry about the glare on my eyeballs. Danny says it's okay, so I'm going to go with it. Anyway, this video is going to be about life in the lower Ninth Ward of New Orleans, Louisiana, and just some of the observations that I've made living here, which are quite a lot. And for a guy who's into urban development, city planning, playing SimCity and things like that, it's pretty eye-opening. Basically, the lower Ninth Ward is known for Hurricane Katrina. Obviously, it was devastated, completely pretty much flooded, and it basically looks today like you could have told me the hurricane came through yesterday and I would believe you, because it's just awful. It is, I mean, words don't do it justice. You really owe it to yourself to come down here and check it out. And if you can't, just pull it up on Google Maps. You'll see. Ain't there no more, as they say down here. So I'm the kind of wacky guy who looks around and says, hey, I think I'm going to buy a house here and start a family, because I'm just into all that kind of weird stuff. And I feel like I'm doing the right thing by doing so, but so many people are not. So got to make a YouTube video to get my feels out there, I guess you say. So big question for me looking around, why does it look the way it looks? Basically, people still blame Katrina. And I'm not going to say Katrina did anyone any favors. Much love to anyone who's been displaced and still suffering. But at some point, you got to move on. And if you're one of those people who thinks that nonprofits, income redistribution, if you know what I mean, is the way to solve problems like we're facing here in the lower Ninth Ward, I heartily encourage you to come down here and disabuse yourselves of that notion, because nonprofits we have, government interference we have got Brad Pitt coming in here, famous architects, and it still looks like, terrible. So I've just been really curious about why that is, and I want to share just some of my thoughts about what I've learned. And the precipitating event in this is that they're starting to build all these houses. Just the past couple of weeks, there's like 12 houses going up right around us, and it's really, really startling. And I look around myself and I just say, why? What is there here? We got a grocery store about 15 minutes away that went in about 6 months ago, and that's been really nice, but it's just a devastated place. And when there's so many other parts of the city that still need to be rebuilt, so many vacant lots all over the city, why would you be building here? Well, it turns out it's the city that's building these houses. And so to me, well, to anyone, that's a real huge conflict of interest. But it does answer my question. Why are people wanting to build here? Well, they're not. It's the city that's building it, and it's all, I guess they made an earlier round of this kind of thing where the city of New Orleans apparently builds houses and tries to sell them, and an earlier round of this kind of thing, none of them sold, so they turned into low-income rentals and like Section 8, which is really terrible if you look into how that is managed. So that's what I've got to look forward to for neighbors coming in here, and that's great. But it really speaks to the vicious cycle that we've got going on, where basically we live in a food desert, so no one wants to build here, and so the only thing that gets built is low-income housing. And then the potential, retail developers are going to look at that and say, hey, these people are all going to be on welfare. They're not going to have money to buy goods, so I'm not going to put a store here. and so it repeats. Now, a little historical note is that in the immediate aftermath of Katrina, the city council was seriously considering not redeveloping the lower Ninth Ward at all. So they were going to either turn it into some sort of a wetland or maybe restore it to the agricultural environment that it was before. And I can just imagine how that would have gone, considering the way the governments do not like to limit their own power. And it's a distasteful concept, I'll admit, but it's something that we're facing across the Western civilization as the birth rate falls and cities shrink. It's happening. So my proposal of what to do with this land, would be to turn it into farmland, and create food and create jobs for the people around us, and do something useful, something desirable, and something that would improve the community, add value to the community. So now, thinking about this vicious cycle and going down to the grocery store this morning, I had a realization that there is no way that the American infrastructure is ever going to recover from any kind of a natural disaster like this anywhere else. Just because all of the grocery stores in the United States, all of the chains, are these kind of like big box stores like Walmart or maybe Whole Foods if you're lucky, I guess. That basically they're all going to take up a whole city block if you're in a traditional, place with city blocks, and they're not going to be able to get a whole city block because of all the. Maybe there's still going to be survivors living there, like us. Well, I can't say that. Like a lot of places in the lower Ninth Ward that have like one house on a block. And then even if they wanted to, even if like maybe Walmart wanted to do a little, mom and pop corner market operation, they've still got to have, a massive parking lot. They've got to have wheelchair access and all these things. So even if they wanted to, the regulatory environment just isn't set up for anybody to come in and provide those needs that a community really needs. So you've got the government kind of stepping in and giving people some half-assed housing, but they're not supplying the other parts of what a community needs, which is food, basically. So what I see New Orleans as is, really a harbinger of things to come. Places like here, places like Detroit, where we're really starting to see the bottom fall out of the American experience, and kind of being a canary in the coal mine, I just wanted to sound the warning that this isn't going to work. We can't possibly, replace the old mom and pop stores with the big boxes, and we can't replace mom and pop stores with mom and pop stores because of the crazy regulatory environment that we live in. Hey, leave me a message if you live by a place, if you live by these kind of mom and pop stores. If you do your shopping anywhere else than a big box grocery store, you're very, very lucky. God bless you. I'd like to hear from you, but this isn't the reality for the majority of Americans. And in a disaster kind of situation like Katrina or like any of these disasters we've got brewing on the horizon, this is just not going to work. So in New Orleans, in the CBD, which is the downtown built-up part of New Orleans, there is a kind of grocery store like this. In Portland, where I'm from, there's quite a few. New Seasons is the big kind of like Whole Foods market there chain, and they built 10 or 20 in a year. The kind of thing I'm talking about, where they take up an entire city block, and they've got a ton of parking. Some of them have like condos and whatnot. But the reason they were able to do that is because a big venture capital company came and bought them that year and threw them a ton of money. So, big pockets is the only way that this kind of model, the American model, can work, and those pockets are, for better or worse, getting emptied. So if you live in a suburban environment like, the Conseco's that I mentioned, which is about a 15-minute walk from here, I think you'll be okay because like that market I'm talking about is in a little strip mall, and they already have the parking and stuff where that can kind of work with what I'm seeing happen, which is kind of the American system just not working, just kind of failing and whatnot. So I think people can have, if you live in a suburban environment like that, or a small town where it's already, not like a town, then you're going to be okay. But if you live in any kind of like a urban environment, I just had this realization looking around. There's no way. There's no way that you're going to put a big box store here, like across the street from me. Bulldoze all those houses, put in a big box store. But there's no people living here, so why? It's just a crazy, crazy vicious cycle. It's never going to work. And I was just blown away, and I had to make a video about that. So if that means anything to you, please respond. Tell me about it. I gotta go cheer myself up. This has been Evan Benton for EvDog from Air. Peace out.